Welcome to the Friends of Zayne Adams, aka FOZA podcast, bringing awareness of postpartum depression, suicides, and the children who are left behind. We'll be spotlighting positive outcomes from mothers as well as healthcare experts and counselors. Would you know the signs of PPD? Would you know how to help a loved one? Stay tuned. As a community, we can do more to support maternal mental wellness.
Greetings, everyone. This is Paulette Smith with Friends of Zayne Adams, aka FOZA Inc. We are a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to bringing awareness and resources to support sufferers of postpartum depression, to prevent maternal suicides, and to support the children who are left behind. We strive to stop the stigma, the silence, the suicides, and the suffering that often accompanies maternal mental health issues. Now, before I begin, I need to say a few words about triggers. This is a safe place. However, we may discuss topics that can be sensitive and may act as a trigger for some of our members or members of our audience. The content we discuss serves to provide information for educational and advocacy purposes only. If you are experiencing an emergency, call the National Crisis Hotline, 800-273-8255. If you cannot afford consultation, please visit FOZAinc.org and provide us your contact information. Greetings. This is Paulette Smith, founder of Friends of Zayne Adams, FOZA Inc. And I want to thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. You know, we focus on awareness of maternal mental health. And today I'm going to touch on a controversial topic, a little bit controversial, that's social media detoxing. But I want it to be a positive journey. I want to look at some of the things experts say can lead us into not so much wanted habits with social media, and look at some of the ways we can detox and use social media more consciously, because it has been proven that stress, anxiety, depression, self-esteem issues, many of these can be associated with the use and the consistency of use with social media. At the same time, social media can be a wonderful tool. We use it to communicate with moms, to create safe spaces for mothers and birthing people to come and gather, get advice, not be alone. We don't advocate using any advice on the social media that's not being shared with and coordinated with your professional care provider, your medical care providers. But we know that it can be a great tool, or it can be a tool that has negativity with it. So we're going to talk about some of that today and hope that it will be a positive journey. Okay? Let's get started. First, let's look at why FOZA selected this topic at this time. Well, you know, we here at FOZA consistently and constantly use social media as a tool to advocate ways to stop the silence, the stigma, the suicides, and the suffering that often accompanies postpartum depression. And yet, this same tool, social media, can help cause stress, anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and other negative outcomes for maternal wellness. That's why this topic was chosen, because many mental health professionals suggest a detox from social media can be helpful in keeping mothers feeling better about themselves, living in reality, and avoiding misleading information. So, what is detoxing, and what exactly does it mean? How can it be done in a way that you won't feel the effects of FOMO, FOMO. That's fear of missing out. And we'll get back to that a little bit later. Now, we're looking at expert advice coming from different resources. This one is from thehysteriacollective.com. It describes detoxing as a conscious elimination of social media use and consumption for a set period of time. That's pretty simple. And what's the purpose of detoxing? Well, some of those same experts say that it will help you achieve improved mental health, better concentration, and much needed clarity. Okay? Better mental health, concentration, and clarity, all of these are zones that can be especially challenging during the perinatal and postpartum period. So what's the first thing to do? Well, it's personal, and it depends on your routine, your state of mind, and your desires. So FOZA always recommends first checking with your primary care provider before undertaking any lifestyle changes. Not just diet and physical changes, but any changes in your lifestyle. But here are some questions you might want to ask yourself in your decision making to perform a social media detox. Do you feel you spend time using and consuming social media? Do you feel that time is being well spent? And try not to answer that question too quickly. Whatever you're feeling, write it down. Make a list of the time you spend on social media and list the true benefits you believe you're receiving from using that time. Be honest with yourself. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You just want to be in your best place. Now, have you ever considered that social media is a big business? And it's primarily designed to keep you captured and addicted to certain agendas, trends, and ideas that may or may not align with your best interest in mind. Think about that. And have you ever questioned your decisions as a new mom or birthing person after comparing what you're hearing there? Have you ever compared that advice to what you thought was right as a mom? Okay? If you answered yes, especially to the previous question, I'd like you to go just a bit further and create an agenda for yourself. An agenda for your time, your family, and your schedule. An agenda that does not include social media for certain times. Okay? Now you might be asking, why even bother with this? This is frivolous. And it might be time consuming. Like, don't I have enough to do already? I get it. And hopefully you won't be on social media while you're creating your agenda. That's one positive. Secondly, you may see how subliminally you could be receiving information. You could be being introduced to suggestions, ideas, comparative thinking, unrealistic scenarios, and other negatives that are not in the best interest for you as a new mother. Okay? This is not a test. There is no judgment here. This is a safe place. This is all about how you choose to spend your time. It's your decision. These questions are intended to be thought-provoking in helping you decide if, once again, it's personal. However, research and personal accounts from perinatal and postpartum moms, that research has shown that after be able to see more and more mental clutter move out of your way. Cluttermind.com. Another thing is that you'll no longer be concerned or worried about some of the headlines, news feeds, or trends that may come up on social media. And with even more time in detox, you might find yourself being more positive. Research has shown that extensive use of social media tends to jade us and make us more cynical. I'm not sure how it works, but these things have been researched and proven. Another really important thing that I hear a lot is that you'll stop comparing yourself to other people and other people's lifestyles. You'll stop feeding the urge to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, or try to emulate or imitate something that is not to your best interest. Now, I'm not talking about dropping off the grid altogether and giving up the internet or anything like that. However, evidence suggests that anxiety comes from conscious and unconscious use and the consumption, the way it's taken in, the way social media is consumed. Now let's look at some of the alternatives to spending time on social media, because it's not just, oh, you need to stop and twiddle your thumbs. No, it's not about that. Here are some suggestions. You can start by downloading advertisement-free reading apps, music apps, or relaxation apps. You can put those onto your mobile device, and if you find that an app you really like, an app that's leading you to a safe, positive, and productive space, actually has a fee attached to it for no ads, well, contact FOZA. Contact us, FOZAinc.org. We'll help you look for similar resources that are affordable, have less distractions, and have perhaps extendable free trials, or maybe provided to you at no cost. All you have to do is decide what works for you, and then we'll find out everything else we need to do to work that out. Next, you can listen to podcasts like this one or audiobooks. Positive information. Now, ads may be included. However, in audio, ads tend to be less intrusive and they're not visual. They're not as distracting as when you're scrolling through social media. It's one of the things that you can really do to detox from social media, and it's something that's really good for you. You know, as a mom, you've been given great intuition with the birth of your child. You weren't given an instruction book, but you were given some great intuition, and it's only going to grow over time. You can get assistance from your healthcare provider or your doula or your midwife, and that's a great first path to knowledge. But journaling is a treasure that only you can accumulate, and it will serve you well. So do consider starting a personal journal. And if you'd like more information about starting your journal, contact FOZA, FOZAinc.org, because we have some great resources to get you started with beautiful kits to bring you inspiration. Next, take an online course. We're always at our best when we're learning new things. And while getting advice from friends online, that can be a path to take. Actually getting advice from licensed experts and professionals through a course, that's going to not only enrich your life, it will provide an example and a legacy for your children. And now, as promised, One of the all-time most frequently asked questions and issues related to social media detoxing that I've come across is facing FOMO, FOMO, fear of missing out. That's a big one. Now, I found what I think is a most valuable article on verywellmind.com. It's authored by two incredibly wonderful PhDs. Medical, mental reviews were put forth in this, and I'm not going to go through the entire article with you here because it stands for itself. But I will say, first of all, I want to explain just a little bit about what they said FOMO is and how it affects depression, anxiety, and that's what we want to avoid in our perinatal and our postpartum moms. FOMO is heavily linked to higher engagement in social media. So those are the people who are really into it, okay? And other studies have suggested that it really links to feeling a need to engage in social media, and that need increases the engagement. It's a vicious circle. This means that FOMO and social media habits may contribute to negative or self-perpetuating cycle. So it may create a self-perpetuating cycle. So I'm going to leave the link to the entire article and the description of this podcast, but I'm hoping that you can find time to learn just a little bit more, because it's really important to reduce the feeling that you're missing out on things in your life because you're not attached to social media. Because aside from increased feelings of unhappiness, FOMO, that's the fear of missing out, can lead to greater involvement in more unhealthy behaviors, some of which have become deadly. Okay? So I'm hoping that you'll recognize the importance of learning more about this and want to dive deeper. Some of the positive things I can bring you, even if you don't read the FOMO article, is to just focus on what you have rather than what you lack having. And I know sometimes when we're talking to moms on different socioeconomic levels, some people have more than others, but we all have something to be grateful for. And that's what we want to look for, the things we have to be grateful for. And one of the biggest suggestions that came out of the article was to keep a personal journal. Aha, I mentioned that a little bit earlier. So I'm glad that our minds met on that. I don't have a PhD, but that seems to be something that's really helpful. It's been proven to help moms gather their thoughts and give them moments of peace and things to look back on in ways to make the best decisions, especially when they're feeling unsure of themselves. So, again, I'm leaving the link to the article for you to discover more, but I hope you're intrigued enough to learn more. And finally, a question that we get a lot of. I'm running a business here, and I am postpartum. I'm in my postpartum period. I'm really stressed out. I can't detox from social media, though, because I'm running a business. As you may know, I had a marketing agency, and we are heavily dependent upon staying connected to social media. Across my desk, it touched me in a very personal way. It touched me on a personal level. So I took careful and special consideration of mothers who are running businesses and who are perinatal or postpartum. I listen to my moms. I hear their stress, whether they are staying home and they're working from home for business that's not their own, or they're working for their own business. They may be feeling the stress of social media burnout just so that they can keep their businesses top of mind with their potential clients. So the recommendations here, I actually got another resource that I think was great, voimedia.com. Want you to check it out, but from my own experience, I have tons of advice for helping a new mom, a small business owner, make adjustments to social media detoxing if that's what they feel they want to do, and never miss an opportunity for a sale. So just connect with me on FOZA. That's FOZAinc.org, and we'll talk more about ways that you too can have a detox from social media and not lose a step in your business. I hope this was helpful to you, some of this information. FOZA fans, I hope that you already feel the burden of keeping up with social media being lifted from your shoulders. But just remember, your needs and your desires are personal and individual. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions, and always keep your caregivers in the loop, because it's not pharmaceutical and it's not medical, but mental health is just as important as any physical, medical, or pharmaceutical need could be. I want to thank Add Voices for producing our podcast and ask you to stay connected to our website, www.fozainc.org, because we're going to have all things FOZA there. We're still on a mission to award a scholarship to a deserving student who's lost a parent due to maternal suicide. So keep in touch with us there and keep the awareness going, provide donations, and be ready to support our student when the scholarship is awarded. Your donations are going directly to this cause, so we want to make sure that everyone is informed. Tune in next time for a message you can depend on to support maternal mental health awareness. This is Paulette Smith signing off in memory of Christina LaShawn Thompson-Adams. Bye-bye.